Drivers behind the line. 3, 2, 1, go.
Rebuild begins with a 22nd autonomous Fury. 3487 Red Pride Robotics slowly making their way over to that tower. 15 points if they're able to latch on to that first run, get elevated off the ground. 2992 Panther Tech quickly making their way into that neutral zone, the zone between those two hubs to pick up additional fuel. Each of these teams begin with a couple of those fuel preloaded, and then they're hoping to deliver that into their active hub. 3494 Quadrangles and 3487 appear to be off the ground. It's a good day for teams that start with 3-4. 15 points for each of those teams that were elevated. 3487 hoping to get de-elevated off the ground, but there's a couple of fuel underneath them. Many teams trying to make use of that fuel and score points for their alliance, each of those worth 1 point into their hub. Those yellow fuel are spheres, and teams have been manipulating them throughout this weekend's competition to try to get points for their alliance. Not only points to win the game, but also those ranking points that are available. The first threshold there is scoring 100 of those fuel into your hub while it's active. You need 100 of those to get the energized ranking point, and then 360 is that next threshold. 461 Westside Boiler Invasion from just across the river in West Lafayette, trying to pick up that fuel from their alliance side and scored into their hub. Many teams squirreling away those extra fuel and using them for when their hub is active to get those points for their alliance. The Quadrangles demonstrating that shuttling technique, allowing it to place it just in front of their teammates. 1555 now pushing fuel into their human player station. Some of that fuel landing outside the field of play will be promptly returned by our awesome field side volunteers. Red Alliance making use of their active hub to try to score points for their alliance scores, 141 to 125 in favor of your Blue Alliance. Red Alliance is getting their second opportunity to close up some of those point gaps. 10332 making use of their outpost, that's Charger Robotics, to push some of that fuel into their human player station, giving their humans an opportunity to score, or they can use that big lever to deliver that fuel into one of their robots. Blue Alliance getting their last opportunity where just their hub is active to bring up the point difference, 162 to 152, less than 15 points distinguish these two teams. In the endgame period, we'll first hear that steam whistle. Meaning the endgame period has started. Both of those hubs have reactivated for both alliances, getting them a final opportunity to score. Red Alliance was well prepared for that time, hoping to bring down that point difference between these two alliances. Blue Alliance able to return that volley of fuel itself. 1555 Cryofos sneaking underneath the trench and getting ready for some of that bumper pressure from their opponents. Red Pride Robotics trying to get elevated off the ground. One of their teammates' bumpers in the way. Red Alliance pulling up that pressure. Blue Alliance trying to get elevated. We'll have to see how those points total out here at qualification match 20. Taking it with a score of 220 to Blue Alliance's 112. 8 points distinguish these two teams. Both of them making it over that 100 fuel requirement for the energized ranking point. That's that white sphere you see down in the ranking point area. Red Alliance getting that 3 additional for winning the match, allowing all of their teammates to rise in the ranks, except for 3494.